Hello, welcome to Scenic Design, from concept to artistic rendering. You are watching this particular series because you've already read the script and made a list of necessary set pieces. You've chosen the time period and researched it if that's needed. You've decided on the when and the where and the aesthetic as far as how expensive it should be, what the treatment looks like, and you have an aesthetic that is based upon the mood and themes of the actual script. So we're going to talk a little more right now about the remaining steps involving stage dimensions and floor area, the scale for your drawing, how to draw a scaled top elevation of your floor and stage and have items proportionate to that, how to draw scaled front elevations of your flats, and then how to do artistic renderings or find references for your final aesthetic. All right, as far as writing down dimensions for your stage, you can just pull these from this particular frame. So go ahead and pause it if you like, or come back to it from the other document. So these are basic dimensions for most prosceniums and thrust and in the round spaces. Note that on the Theater in the Round version, ceiling does not matter. That's because we're not going to build a flat or put a backdrop onto a stage in that space because the audience is on all sides. So that set needs to be low in profile. All right, when you're drawing to scale, just a note to give you a heads up, there's going to be a fair amount of math involved as you're doing a full set. How wide is that door compared to that other thing? Our scale ruler is going to help us quite a bit, but you might need to calculate what's the distance across a square or what's the height of something. Feel free to do any and all scratch papers that you need. If you'd like to share those with me because you need me to help you answer questions, feel free. You'll also notice that I've chosen to do a 1 to 3/8 inch scale. That's going to be appropriate, or a 1 to 1/4 inch scale. Depends on how big your paper is. For our sake, most of the time it's going to be 1 to 1/4. So here's our map view. This is just constricted by the particular program that does the slideshow. So it would be a little bit weird to have a stage that's 16 feet wide by 18 feet deep, but let's just imagine that's true. You're also going to include on your map view where the audience is. So this would be more like a proscenium setup where the audience is just on one side. And then here's the 1/4 to 1 foot scale drawing, or again, you could use 3/8 if you like. Either way, we're going to show on this drawing where things are in placement to each other, and also they need to be proportionate to each other. So if you look at this right-hand image, that gazebo is approximately the right size compared to the steps of that house, and that sidewalk is proportionate to the stairs. The little garden bed, kind of irrelevant, but that set of chairs on either side of the table on the right-hand side of the frame, those are going to be precise amounts compared to actual furniture. Feel free to make little templates or use index cards or other piece of paper to figure out where you want that furniture to be placed or where you'd like that garden to be before you do your final drawing. And one last quick note, on the left-hand side you'll see a smaller, narrower piece of paper that matches the one on the right. That is a specific elevation drawing, so we know how tall is the small step, how tall is the middle step, and how tall is the top platform. And it has a little bit more mathematics involved. All right, so the next step in this process is to do a scaled front elevation. They are going to include measurements, as you see here on these 3 drawings. So those lines are going to extend out the way I showed you on that technical drawing practice. They're going to tell us the full height of the wall compared to the height or the size of the door within the wall, etc. And so we see 3 separate walls here, and there's going to be information in the final drawing about where exactly those walls connect to each other. You'll also notice on a front elevation any special textures and details. So on the bottom left, you can see that that particular wall has 2 small mirrors or paintings that are hanging on it. And we can tell that this wall doesn't have wallpaper in this room because it's not drawn on this front elevation. All right, here's another example of some textures and details. So this is an exterior of a set, and you'll see a lot of specific detail, especially in that top section above each door and around each window and above the frame of the entire wall. So any wallpaper or chair rails or molding or specific details should show up on your front elevation. And then the last step in this particular project is an artistic rendering. So you could do one in colored pencil or pastel or paint if you like. That's the example shown on the top of the elevation we were just looking at. Or you could pull some reference images in the style you've chosen and you could maybe draw some arrows. These columns, this background, this style of painting, etc. Please make sure if you're pulling images from someone else that you cite your sources and that you do that in an appropriate format. All right, lastly, there's a few resources for some professional scenic designers if you'd like to go online and see a little bit more about what this looks like in different versions. Feel free to do so. Thanks so much, and as always, feel free to ask any questions or get help if you need it.